Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Matt and Garrett are here again, and we have a fun topic for you guys today. Things that we're seeing out there in the world as we're working with agents around the United States, things that we're like, oh, this should be talked about. Before we jump into that, just want to have everybody, if you haven't had a chance, go check out the Ninja Selling Podcast community on Facebook. You can just search the Ninja Selling Podcast and it will pop up. You can check that out and join the group if you'd like. Continuing to grow, Matt, as you said, the fastest growing
community on Earth, in the galaxy maybe. I mean, I don't know what's going on other planets, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
It's pretty big. It's getting, yes. So come join that group. Lots of great ideas being shared in there. Lots of different levels of ninjas in there. Everybody from long-term graduates of ninja selling installations all the way down to people that are just finding out about ninja right now for the first time. So it's a very fun group of like-minded people that are all on the same path.
Yeah. And cool thing too about being a part of that group is we do more things in there, like happy hours. Right? We did one. We're going to have another one coming up soon, if we haven't done one already by the time this podcast airs. There's also going to be some other things that are going to happen that if you're in the podcast group, you'll be the first to know about certain opportunities, we'll just say. So there is that. And not only that, you just get to connect with some really awesome people. I've been seeing some people connect also on different brokerage levels. I know some brokerages don't have their own communities and people throw out there, hey, I'm with this brokerage. Anybody else also with this? And you all get to connect and share how you use Ninja inside with your systems, which is so cool. It's awesome to see people coming together and collaborate on a system that just builds better people and better communities and better businesses. So appreciate all of you that are in there making that happen.
Excellent. Well, again, Matt, thanks for jumping in. When we look at the topic of today, when we want it more than the client does, this is our topic. And it's interesting. We watch this happen all the time. I find that in different marketplaces, it shows up more than others. We just went through an entire marketplace that sometimes it'll happen on the buyer side. Sometimes it'll happen on the seller side more often, depending on the market. And really interesting. This shows up primarily, I find, Matt, when I have an agent that's kind of beating their head against the wall. They're telling me about they got all these great clients, but they're not really having any closings. All these people that they're like, look at what my potential pipeline is, but they don't, again, they have nothing to show for it at the end of the month. And when you really start to dig into it, you find out that they have a whole lot of people that they really want to see have a real estate transaction happen, but the clients aren't fully invested and aren't fully in. And sometimes you can even start the working relationship with somebody, like have a listing, have a buyer out with, and realize that we want it more than they do. So Matt, this is a great topic. I'm excited to talk about it, and let's jump in.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best places to exercise self-awareness because how we advise people can impact how they think and feel, but also we can confuse ourselves, right? And right now, I'm seeing a lot of like, oh yeah, like, how do I get these people? That's the question. That usually is the telltale sign of you want it more than the client is. How do I get these people?
Or how do I get them to write a contract? How do I get them to list their home?
Yeah, which number one, you can have influence over that, but you cannot be the factor that makes that happen. And with the dynamics of the market, I'm not going to use my favorite word. There are people who the pain or pleasure just changes. Okay, so if the monthly expense to buy that property is now X and before it was A, I was going to say Y, but that's always way too common. And I feel like A is a little earlier in the alphabet than X, whereas Y comes after.
Oh my gosh.
I'm on some steroids right now for sinus infections, so just bear with me. Those people may not want to buy a house anymore is basically what I'm trying to say. And so that's okay, right? But when we want them to buy a house, we hold on to it. And it actually then blocks your vision from seeing the people who do want to transact. So now you hold on so tightly to, I want these people to do this deal so bad that you actually limit your ability to attract more people and conduct more closings with the people who do. That's the biggest problem I see with wanting it more than the client.
Well, and this goes back to, as I was writing some notes here, is like what we see is it's again, how do I get them to? And it's different of finding people that need our help. And this goes back to all the systems that we have people working on, is that they're all designed to put us around people so that if you're talking to enough people, if you're socializing with enough different parties on every day, week, what you start to find is you start to find people that need our help. They need our systems. They need our guidance. They need our expertise. And at that point in time, you have the opportunity of saying things like, do you have anybody helping you with that? And all of a sudden, you can start asking some more questions to kind of clarify and see if you can help them look at it from a different angle. What would your life look like if you did have more space? All of a sudden, you're just guiding them down these principles that all of a sudden they're like, maybe we should look at some homes. Maybe we should go out, and it's all of a sudden you have a client that's seeing it, that how badly they want it for themselves. They want to have that next picture of this life that we're all living. And you just get to be the facilitator in making that happen. This, how do I get them to? You're all out there. You all have a list. And I shouldn't say you all, that's not everybody. A good part of you out there have a list of people that you look at and you go, these could all be potential closings if only I could get them to move forward. And I just want to encourage all of you out there, the way you get them to move forward is help them find the reasons why they would want to move forward. You help by asking the right questions, learning more about their life, not telling them why the interest rates are the right time to buy right now because they could go up, not by telling them, here's what the months of inventory are, and this is changing right now, and this is the right time to sell. There's so many other factors behind the scenes that we need to figure out for these people. And this is where, and I don't want to be just a billboard for Ninja here, but it is what we are. This is the beauty of what Ninja's all about in helping people find these solutions for people. It's what the core of this is all built off of.
Yeah. You bring up a good point. When we start, by the way, an underlying principle of Ninja, and we say it right in the installation, is don't get attached to the outcome. And the reason for that is what we're talking about here. Also, you brought up now we start to layer in an interest rate or inventory and all of this stuff to try to get people to make a move. And so when you squeeze so tight, you start to just focus on these one subject matter things and assume that matters to your client. When in the broad picture, a rise in interest rate really doesn't matter unless it completely constricts the financial ability of your client to purchase a home, in which case they're just not going to buy, which is fine. But when you focus on that, you distract them from the real reason why they want to purchase a property, which in the long run is going to provide way more value for them. So when you look at it, if there's any outcome to be attached to, it's the joy of your clients in their decision making. And so how do we help our clients seek that out? Well, that comes to asking questions, right, Garrett? I mean, it's just asking the questions that help them find clarity so they're happy with whatever decision they make. And then you, the agent, us, be happy with that decision. We talk all the time, Garrett, about, well, I guess not all the time. We have mentioned a few times the success stories of what happens when an agent has a conversation with a client, asks wonderful questions, and the client decides, I'm not going to sell my house. And the windfall of referrals that come after that, and how happy the agent is even before those referrals come, because they're just attached to helping find a solution and create joy for that person. That's the ultimate experience, I think.
You look at a listing presentation and what that means being in that space with your clients and these people that you're going to help with real estate. Is it about them or is it about us? And I think there's a lot of people that their interpretation of a listing presentation is just get the listing. Just get the listing. All you got to do is just get the listing. Whatever you do at any cost, get the listing. The other side of that, when it's about them, is it right for them to put their home on the market right now? Like, is this the right decision? And are they doing it for the right reasons? And are they fully invested enough to be able to be successful in this marketplace, to be able to make the tough decisions, to be able to move forward? When you're doing real estate reviews, am I doing real estate reviews right now because I want more pieces of business? Or am I doing real estate reviews because I want to inform and educate my clients on what's happening out there in the marketplace and how it affects a large chunk of their money tied up? How is that affecting them? What does that mean to them? Are there things they need to be thinking about? When you look at hour of power phone calls, pick up the phone and calling everybody in your sphere of influence. Am I making those phone calls because maybe I'm going to find a piece of business today? And we'll see it, especially with newer ninjas. They'll start doing their systems, or people that don't have a solid background or foundation of ninja. They'll do their hour of power phone calls and they'll come back to their coach and go, yeah, I did my hour of power phone calls. I didn't find any leads. Okay. Was it about you or was it about them? Real estate reviews the same way. And it's funny, Matt, and you've seen this, and I'd be curious to get your opinion on this. When I find that people let go and the agent or anybody who's applying these systems into their business, let go and make it about them, the results actually get better. When you stop chasing.
Outstandingly better. Well, you open up to asking more questions. What do most agents do, Garrett, if they have a buyer or seller? They're like, yeah, we want to do something, but not for about 6 months, or we want to wait until next spring. What do most agents do when they hear that?
They put them on their, technically their warm list, or they put them on some sort of list and they go, great, I'll contact them in 6 months.
Right. That's the opportunity to be like, okay, tell me about what happens in 6 months. Tell me what happens in a year. Tell me about that.
Yeah, what makes that time frame? What is that time frame? Is it linked to something, or is that a time frame that you feel comfortable with?
Yeah, let's understand why. Because when we go, okay, I'll call them in 6 months, we're thinking to ourselves, I have a listing in 6 months, versus how do I help this person solve whatever problem exists or whatever joy they're trying to create in 6 months, or whatever. Maybe it's not that time frame. Who knows what it really is when you dig down?
Oh, here's what happens, Matt. And this goes back to, I'm not saying like if we ask the right questions, we could get the listing, but what happens, they throw them out there for 6 months out. You contact them in 6 months and their home is listed and sold. And you're like, well, wait, they lied to me. No, at some point in that 6-month journey, they found clarity. Either somebody asked them the right questions, or they were sitting at the dinner table eating their linguine one night and they're like, that's it. That is how we are going to make this sale happen. That is how I'm going to move to this bigger house or downsize or get to the home on the beach. I have clarity now. Let's go and let's do this. Who is the realtor around me right now that just comes to mind the fastest? Not the one that, by the way, they talked to 4 months ago and is still waiting another 2 months to call them. That's not the person they're going to call. They reach out to friends. They might even jump on the internet and just search somebody being like, well, I don't know any realtors. Nobody's really been staying in touch with me. Let's just see who's out there, who's kind of top rankings for our area right now. That's who we'll use.
Well, that ties right into what we talked about the prior episode, right? Are you building the relationship and showcasing your value, or are you just trying to rely on your relationship to have that person come back to you? Because if that's it, now, if you're really good at the relationship, that'll work. But if there's no display of value, of course they're going to go look to see like, okay, who can help me accomplish this goal?
Well, they want a solution. And I think that that's the thing, is that once they have clarity, they're looking for a solution. People that are clear can make decisions. And a lot of times these time frames out there and whatnot are just people that are really confused. And again, when I go back to, is this like a real estate review or notes or lunches or hour of power phone calls or customer service calls? Is it about them or is it about us? If it's really about them, what you're constantly doing is kind of taking their pulse and seeing where people are at and what's happening in their worlds and what's happening in their lives, and digging down and asking more questions. If you're doing this with enough people, statistically, people move every 7 years right now? I think the number's actually dropping down.
Yeah, it's going to drop once we factor in the past couple of years. But even if you say 10 years to make math easy.
So to make that work, if you take your database, just times it by 20%, it will pretty much tell you how many real estate sides are going to come out of that group in the next year. So we got 100 people in our database. There's 20 sides that are going to happen out of that group in the next year. Our goal is not to get those people to sell. They're going to sell without you. You're not going to make them do anything at all. The thing is to find those people, see the actual patterns in their world, and say, I can help facilitate to make this next journey they're going to take easier and better, and have them have success with this. So when they walk away from the end of it, they're going to go, that was the best house buying or selling experience that I've ever had. Thank you so much for helping facilitate that, being in our world and being there for us when we needed you. Your job is just to find those people and help them, not convert them.
And we underestimate the power that we have to influence great decisions among people. Back to the 6 month to a year person. Okay, let's say they do wait that long. But what if we ask great questions which help them see an opportunity to move in 3 months? Now you facilitated a transaction this year that would not have happened this year. When we have deeper conversations about people's goals and we're focused on just helping them get to where they want to go, I mean, this is the whole point of this industry, right? I think people get confused when it comes to business. They think, oh, the point of businesses is to make money. The point of business is to serve, to figure out how do we help people solve problems or bring more joy to their life. And that's what we do as real estate agents as well. Only it's in the housing sector, which is a pretty powerful sector to be in. I mean, there's a lot of power that comes from really enjoying your home. So if we help people really think through their goals, it doesn't mean that they're going to do something now. Not at all. It could, but I think if we talk about that more with people and dig into to understanding where they want to go, we can really advise them at a high level that's, one, definitely going to solidify the fact that they want to use you as their realtor when it comes time for them to do something. And two, they're going to talk to other people about you and be like, man, Garrett really opened my eyes on what we want to do and really helped us kind of work through our thought process so we didn't have to wait until we were sitting at the kitchen table eating our limitless linguine and figuring out what's the next step. Fearless fettuccine.
I'm stuck on the linguine. Sorry, yeah. So I think what's interesting in going back to these time frames, Matt, that you mentioned, my belief has always been when somebody gives me a time frame, the time frame is completely arbitrary for the most part. Every once in a while, you'll lock it down to, okay, so-and-so retires on this date. This is when they receive this certain money coming in, whatever that might look like, that says, okay, we can't do anything until that moment happens.
But you only understood that because you went deeper and found clarity on that.
Yes. More often than not, I find somebody who has a place they want to be. They just don't know how to get there. And because they don't know how to get there, it's very easy to say it's going to be this time frame. They might throw out that they want to have that beach house. Well, what makes it that far out? And when you start to dig down, if you could figure out a way to have that beach house sooner, would that be something that would enhance your life and make your life better? Or is it too early to have that? They might have kids graduating from high school or college, and they're like, well, we'd love to have the beach house, but we're never even going to be able to use it until the kids are off at college. Well, let's figure out a plan then. This goes back to the who, when, what, where, how, and why. Who is this for? Oh, it's not for the entire family. It's for the two of you. This is your home that you're looking at as your getaway, whatever that might be. Great. Now we can start to pick that apart and start to focus on it. Would you like to have a fixer-upper? So maybe we do need to get it now so we can start renovating it and remodeling it. So when that moment happens, now you're ready. Or are you looking for something that's set to go? So when that moment happens, we just have to move into it. Well, we'd love to be able to make it ours. Now we have time frame up front. Like, you just start adjusting where this all needs to be, but you're doing it by trying to figure out, what do these people want to accomplish, giving them different ideas, what this could look like. You're not trying to convert them into a sale. And this is where we got started this whole conversation off, Matt, with who wants it more.
The client's got to want it more. You got to want to serve. And that's the core. You can still want to make money. And listen, I think you should make sure you're in this business to create an amazing financial future for yourself. But when it comes to your interactions, it's not about trying to get that person to close. It's, how do I serve this person that helps bring them joy? And they're going to come out of the woodwork, Garrett. Like, you know this, right? I mean, you said it. All of a sudden, when people release that, when they release the attachment to the outcome, there's a couple of things. One, the energy changes.
You're more approachable.
You move from scarcity to abundance, and so just more things come your way. Two, it opens your vision to see more opportunity, which is incredible. Three, because of those things, it reduces your overall stress, which helps you improve your efficiency and your effectiveness to actually then close more deals. So it's a wonderful string of events that happens when you detach from the outcome, even if you're feeling levels of stress right now because you're like, well, I need closings. I understand, but you don't need it more than the client.
And they're smart too. So the minute that this energy shifts around this, what you don't see, but what the client sees, or the people that need our help out here sees, is they walk into a room or into an environment and they know you're in there somewhere. They're not quite sure where you're at, but you've got this huge net and you're sitting there in the corner disguised as a plant. And all of a sudden they walk past and they're like, crap, I got caught. Like, this is why people don't like talking on the phone necessarily to the realtor. And sometimes when you call as a realtor, they're like, hi, what do you need right now? Because we're not there for their best interest. When we do call them, we call them because we're searching for business. That's the only reason we would pick up that phone and make that phone call. When we go out to lunch, we're there to talk about real estate. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what not to do. When we do a real estate review and sit down, they're not sitting there going, this is my person that gives me great information so that I'm highly educated when it comes to my real estate holdings. They look at it as, oh, this guy wants to get together. This person wants to get together to do a real estate review with me because they're trying to find the next business or the next deal that they might be able to do. The difference in this is that person that's hiding in the corner with the net and everybody's trying to make sure they don't get caught by you, to the other side of it, which is a very open environment, which makes people want to come directly towards you, sit in front of you, talk with you, glean your knowledge and your expertise of the marketplace, and build a very strong working relationship where, hey, when I need help with real estate, if any of my friends need help with real estate, Matt Bonelli is the guy that I want to call in on this. Let's go get him involved. You don't want to work with anybody else. But if they feel that Matt's hiding in the corner with a net all the time, I'm not sending my friends to you. You kidding me?
No, it's not going to make you look good. I'm going to make you look terrible.
They're going to call me and go like, yeah, that was fun. Thanks, dude.
And it's usually really light. It's usually, yeah, he's cool. He's a nice guy, but I don't think he's the right one for us, is typically what it is.
I didn't even think you hear that. It's like, yeah, we met with him. We'll circle back around to him when we actually are ready to move forward.
Right. Anyway, one tip to exit with this. Okay, great. I don't want to detach the outcome. How do I make sure I practice that? The very first Ninja success habit, start each day with gratitude. That is the number one way to help detach yourself from the outcome. Start every day with gratitude. Start every day with gratitude. Start every day with gratitude.
Okay, that's your tip. My tip is every system that you're doing moving forward, ask yourself, am I doing this for them or am I doing it for myself? That is my every single system. Look at it that way. And if you can't figure out why you're doing it for them, go back home, sit down for a little bit, do some brainstorming, call your coach, call your manager, pick up the Ninja Selling book and start reading through it and start asking yourself, why in the world would these systems exist for the client, the people out there in the world? Every single one of them is designed for them, not for us.
That's a good one. As Pindar says in The Go-Giver, does it make money is not a bad question. It's just a bad first question. The first question you should always ask is, does it serve?
You had to one-up me.
I'm not one-upping you. That's Pindar. I did not come up with that. You came up with the setup.
It's really good, by the way.
I still think gratitude's a pretty good one.
Does it make money that doesn't serve? Like, that's the simple philosophy right there. We were trying to figure out who came up with this topic, and we decided that it just came out of thin air, out of our conversation.
Yeah, we went through no, it's your topic. No, it's your topic. It's like, no, after you. So it's y'all's topic. It's everybody who's listening. We get our topics from you guys anyway. So thank you for listening, for being interactive with us, for joining our Facebook community, facebook.com/group/the Ninja Selling Podcast, because that's where we get a lot of our fuel, and we appreciate every single one of you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and sharing and all the things that you do around Ninja to make this world more Ninja. If you are looking for more Ninja, head over to ninjaselling.com. You can find an installation. Don't know if this episode's being released before or after Larry's Building a Smart Business workshop webinar. If it's after, there will be more, which is a fantastic way. If you've never been to an installation, if you're new to Ninja, look for one of Larry's Building a Smart Business workshops. It's a 3-hour Zoom. It's not expensive. I think it's like $100, and you get a whole foundation of Ninja from the master himself. So great. So head over to ninjaselling.com to look that up. You can also find our coaching there as well. Under Maintain Habits, hit coaching. If you want to hook up with a coach, we're here for you. Just reach out to us and we'll get you situated. So thank you guys so much.
And I'll add in with that Building a Smart Business. Again, if you're new to Ninja, it's a great place to get a simple understanding of the deeper philosophical. Like, a lot of people will say to me, they come to me and say, oh, Ninja's so much like other systems out there. It's so much like other real estate platforms that I know of. And at the end of the day, I always have to tell people there's a philosophical difference that it's very hard to understand until you get deeper into what it is. The building a smart business will help you start to see that philosophical side of it. And then the installation takes it to the level where you're like, oh, like this is a totally different way of doing business. So if you want that kind of first step, that would be the first step I'd recommend. All right, Matt, thank you.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Talk to you soon. Very soon. Like in a few
If
days.
you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.